sure, Putin is someone who causes the president to stay up nights.
He's presented himself as a very unique kind of specimen.
To fight better than to capitulate.
Vladimir Ilyich Putin. The facts are known. Born in St. Petersburg, a law graduate, former head of intelligence, former prime minister. Now, a very wealthy man, president, and the latest in a long line of authoritarian Russian leaders going back centuries. The phrase cult of personality comes from the Russian kult lichnosti. Putin plays it to the full. But inside the man, Churchill's quote that Russia was a riddle wrapped in a mystery inside an enigma could have been written about Putin. One thing though is clear, he understands power, and that his use of it guarantees his place in history.
He sees that's very much in line with Russia's sense of history, which is Russia as this, third Rome, its own path, its third way. This is an inevitability for Russia being such a huge country.
Putin the Great? Not yet. But 300 years after Peter the Great, he feels he has played a similar role, dragging his country into the modern world, restoring its place as a power to be reckoned with. He knows his history, and looking west from Russia, you see the direction from which came the invaders. Napoleon in 1812, the British, French and Turks in the Crimean War, 1853, the Germans in 1914, and again in 1941. The psychological scars of this, especially from World War II, go deep.
He regards himself not as politician, but as Russian officer who, in the very difficult situation, he feels his responsibility to the majority of Russian people and also to those Russian people who lived in history.
Putin has never forgiven Mikhail Gorbachev for dismantling the Soviet Union, because as a nationalist, he knew the USSR was really the Russian Empire in ideological clothing. Gorbachev was replaced by Boris Yeltsin, who oversaw the accelerating decline of Russia. Yeltsin wasn't always fully focused, especially on foreign policy. Eastern Europe drifted westwards. He sold off state assets to the oligarchs. NATO announced its intentions to expand. For the Baltic states and Poland, membership equaled security. Putin saw it as NATO advancing on Russia's borders. In late 1999, he inherited the presidency of a broken, chaotic country, and he said, "That's enough." He started at home. As oil and gas prices rose, the Kremlin's coffers swelled. He began to rebuild the military. The Chechen separatists were smashed into brutal wars. Other regions were put on notice. You're not leaving the Federation. At the same time, Putin re-centralized power and consolidated his grip on all sections of society: politics, the courts, business, media. In 2004, he won a landslide and was re-elected president. But does he believe in democracy?
I think his experience with democracy is that it is a sham. He doesn't really have any positive experiences of what it can do. He looks at the 1990s as an example of what happens when democracy is allowed to take its course. He's capable of entertaining the idea that it's necessary to achieve his ends, to at least call Russia as a state that has democratic institutions in order to be taken seriously.